Oh, I cannot fucking believe this shit. Right, Seattle Wita here again. One angry pagan. And I am fucking angry this time. Really fucking angry. This is a piece in, hang on a second. Where is it? Doesn't even say, I don't know who this is in, but, oh, this is from the Jews. This is from Mosaic, Advancing Jewish Thought. People wonder why I stand against Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. They wonder why I also stand against Judaism. Why? Because they stand against fucking people like me. So, let's have a fucking look. The Return of Paganism and the Desecration of Self-Government. A Jewish Prayer for a Great Grieving Nation. I think this is America. But either way. And the first example they fucking use is Trump supporter known as the Q Shaman at the US Capitol during a riot in January the 6th. Now, I have been going nutty for fucking ages trying to disabuse people of this notion that people on the right who say they are pagan are actually pagan. They're not. By and large, they actually are not. They're using it as something, as a platform to validate their own vile beliefs. It's fucking pissing me off. As someone who's actually looked at, in this country, in the UK, as someone who's actually looked at as a radical by social services, yeah, which could have meant I would have been put on the prevent program if luckily I hadn't. I'd made my case. But they were trying to look at me as a fucking radical. Because I'm pagan. I would say The Guardian has already put out a piece earlier this year, falsely showing these pagan symbols as being signs that that the people around you might be on the far right. Fucking pisses me off. Anyway, shall we? So this is from Abraham Lincoln. Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us as a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined, with all the treasure of the earth, are only accepted in their military chest, with a Bonaparte for a commander could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, it must be us. We must ourselves be its author and finisher. And as a nation of freemen, we must live through all time or die by suicide. Abraham Lincoln, 1838. John Silver is the guy who wrote this, January the 7th last year. So, we all saw the images and footage. Yesterday on January the 6th, a mob of rioters incited by the president infiltrated the House and Senate chambers, destroyed by federal property, vandalizing the Capitol building, and desecrated the legislative heart of American self-government. Yeah, okay. With the Capitol Police overwhelmed, Secret Service officers were seen barricading the doors with guns drawn. Eventually, they too were overtaken. I'm not even going to go into why there weren't enough police officers there. Rioters took selfies in the well of Congress and sat on the dais of the Senate, with the members of Congress removed to safe locations elsewhere in the Capitol complex. Offices were deserted. One rioter was photographed iPhone in hand, cudgel at his side, foot up on the desk, reclining in the abandoned office of the Speaker of the House, second after only the Vice President in the presidential line of succession. As they wandered through the building, many of the rioters would have passed through the Capitol Rotunda, located between the Senate chambers and the House of Representatives. The Rotunda features 8 large paintings, each celebrating a moment in American history that shaped the American nation. One of them, created by John Trumbull in 1824, shows George Washington voluntarily resigning his commission as Commander-in-Chief of the Revolutionary Army, an act of elevating the country over oneself that was once taught to generations of schoolchildren as the essence of American patriotism. Okay. The women and men who committed yesterday's crimes are American. They were protesting their constitutionally required ratification of the presidential election. They were protesting a democratic transition of power by seeking to overturn by force an election that was determined legitimate by all 50 states. These Americans struck at the very center of America's constitutional soul, the proposition that a limited government, freely elected, constrained by impartial laws, would make possible for every family and every citizen the blessings of liberty. Which is bullshit, but if destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. How should we American Jews respond to this eruption of violence at the Capitol? We who are devoted to the United States, how do we answer this moment? Milton Himmelfarb once widely characterized Judaism by its antithesis. Judaism is against paganism, he wrote. At our peril, we dismiss paganism as an archaic form of idol worship. It is the transfer to his creation of qualities belonging exclusively to God, the worship of nature, the worship of man, bending our knees to human desires and prostrating ourselves before the work of our own hands. This is the eternal This was last year. And I get that this is America, but this kind of idiocy still persists over here. The Jews are attacking us because others are attacking them. I fucking knew it would happen. Monotheistic bastards. Anyway. The more sexual licentiousness we indulge, the more loneliness we suffer. Really? The weaker our families and communities grow, the more we live our lives in social media, the more our sustaining friendships atrophy. As traditional Judaism and Christianity have declined in America, our spiritual energies have not disappeared, but they have reverted to the uninstructed, natural pagan ways from which our ancestors turned. No, what they're seeing is this centralized top-down approach that you want is fucking bullshit and does nothing but elevate those who are in the elites. Nihilist violence across the political spectrum, from Antifa to the anti-Semites to yesterday's rioters, has taken on a distinctly post-religious, which in American mostly means post-Christian. Bullshit! Most of the people in those riots were fucking Christian nationalists. Christian nationalists! They pick out the Q shaman. He's not even a proper pagan. Post-Christian character, a character which is contemptuous of the manners and mores that allow democracy to function. Pagan is an apt description of the oft-photographed rioter who... How is it an apt description? I don't look at that dude and think that he's a pagan. I look at him and think he's a fucking idiot. It's insulting. The Jews, because they're under attack themselves, they are picking on a minority that is smaller than they are to attack. Hypocrites! Pagan is an apt description of the oft-photographed writer who has become the face and symbol of the day. The man is apparently known as Q Shaman. He sauntered into the capital draped in an animal hide, bare-chested and covered in tattoos, his face painted, wearing animal horns on his head. He doesn't look like a European barbarian by accident. No, he's intentionally invoking the constrained ethic of power that in Europe Christianity sought to tame. Fuck off! This is ridiculous. And I will tell you why it's ridiculous. So, let's take this. He doesn't look like a European barbarian by accident. No. He's trying to refer to this white nationalism, which the far right, since the Nazis, since the days of the fucking fascists, the early days of the fascists and Nazis, have been trying to put across as a reason for their own vile ideologies. You know, they don't seem to take into effect that, whilst, yes, pagans did war with other peoples, it wasn't about, taking over those people and making them believe in your gods. That's not what polytheism is about. It wasn't even about that back then. Wars were about honour, largely resources and territory, not religion. The large religious persecution, and we're talking about Northern European ones here, because I don't like the Romans. I never have done, and I never will do. The Romans were fucking bastards, and when they took on Christianity, it made them even worse. This Q shaman, even him using the word shaman, is a fucking fallacy. I'll give you a particular reason. A shaman is supposed to be a wise man and a healer. That man is fucking neither! Unconstrained ethic of power. He's using it as symbology incorrectly. It's ridiculous. And not only that, but this Jew is quite happy to liken paganism and heathenry to the far right, which is actually going along with far right propaganda. He's following far right propaganda in doing this. It's fucking stupid. In the West, Judaism and Christianity have taught us that every woman and man is created in the image and likeness of God. Bullshit! For a start, Judaism and Christianity and Islam all come from the Middle East, not from the West. Blatant lie! I can tear holes into the theologies of Christians, Muslims and Jews because of this. Their inconsistencies are fucking innumerable. And since without that fundamental truth, it's not a truth, it's an opinion. Because your so-called truth can be proved to be false. Without that fundamental truth, no American commitment to civic and legal equality can long endure. Bollocks! Frith and grit, you prick. We are seeing that proposition proved daily. No, you aren't! You're seeing your bias, and one of the things I've heard about the so-called left from the right and the centre is that there's all this victimization. Oh, I'm a victim. You got to listen to me. I'm a victim. People accuse that of me because, pagan minority, and I'm trying to speak up for the rights of pagans and the equal rights of pagans and heathens. Yeah? Oh, trying to make myself, say, oh, I'm the victim, please listen. No. For the sake of it, there's legitimacy here. What this Jew and evidently other Jews and Christians and Muslims, I've heard numerous arguments with Muslims over this exact point. But this bullshit here, in the West, Judaism and Christianity have taught us that every woman and man is created in the image and likeness of God. Neither Judaism or Christianity is a Western religion, not in its origin. Yes, they took out, but Christianity and Judaism and Islam are seen in Africa and in the East. It's idiocy. It's factual idiocy. This fundamental truth is fundamental bullshit. The post-religious left combines sexual self-definition and racial determinism, and the post-religious right rejects the proposition of human equality altogether. Okay? These American tribes and their delusions must be opposed by a party of the left and a party of the right that are both committed to building up a nation of laws that apply equally to all. Well, obviously you fucking don't, do ya? The fundamental difference between monotheists and polytheists is that monotheists believe that the way they can unify is by telling everyone, no, you have to believe what I believe, or you will be punished. That is how we do unification. Whereas polytheists believe you believe what you believe in, I believe what I believe in, or just agree to disagree. Yeah, that's how we would prefer to get along. But no, and we can then work around that to come to compromises. Yeah, but no. The monotheists have got to be adversarial. It seems to be in their ethos to be adversarial. And they wonder why I have become adversarial. People wonder why I have become adversarial towards monotheists. This is fucking why. We American Jews can play a role in the pursuit of democratic justice, for there can be no heaven on earth, and democratic self-government is the best regime we can hope for. That the American framers have established this possibility for us gives us cause for gratitude. Seek the welfare of the city to which I exiled you, and pray for it to the Lord for through its peace you shall have peace. That's authoritarianism! So 26 centuries ago, did the prophet Jeremiah counsel Jews driven from their homeland? Do as I say. Believe in the one God that I want you to believe in, or everything's going to shit for you. That's their version of unification. That's their way of bringing people together. It's not bringing people together. That's authoritarianism. That's social and cultural authoritarianism. Not political. Social, religious, and it's just ridiculous. Today, after the Capitol was mobbed, American Jews must pray for social order and domestic tranquility, and for the renewal of families, communities, schools, and churches and synagogues. See, the majority of the time, Christians, Jews, and Muslims are constantly attacking each other. But in terms of the pagans, they will unify to attack us. Why? Because we don't believe in the domination of others. That's fucking why. And because the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians have worked so damn hard to dominate so many others. I mean, Genghis Khan took Islam on because it was preferable to him to the polytheistic faiths, which were not domineering, I must add. Just drives me mad. Now, don't get me wrong, the Romans, which were polytheistic, also were bellends, and very very much believed in expansions and stuff. But if I was to give the Romans one thing at the very least, at least they let the locals believe in their own gods. As long as, this was the thing about polytheism. There's less objection to adding another god to the pantheon. Why? Because, well, if that's your god, that's your god. There is no reason for conflict amongst religions when it comes to polytheism. Whereas monotheism, this guy's setting up the conflicts. We must begin to build ourselves by bowing our heads in reverence. Yes. Yes, that's right. Supplement yourselves before a god that believes in domination and absolution. It's fucking stupid. I'm not going to read out this fucking the prayer at the end. I refuse to. But people wonder why I'm against Jews as well as Muslims and Christians on a theological basis. This is fucking why. Again, Q Shaman should not be... How dare that man call himself a fucking shaman? How dare he? And I say this because a shaman should not be inciting people to go to war. It's supposed to be wise and to heal. Now, or at least they should not be inciting people to go to war on the basis of lies. They're supposed to be wise decisions. This isn't a wise man. He's using it to make it... He uses all this stuff to make an image of himself. A recognisable image of himself. All these big fucking horns and shit. And with the fucking bear skin or whatever it's supposed to be. It's stupid. Not only that, but they're applying Q Shaman and then saying, oh, no, that's what the rest of the pagans are like. Yeah, great. What about all those of us pagans and heathens who are on the fucking left, you bastard? And like I said, this bit here, in the West, Judaism and Christianity have taught us that every woman and man is created in the image and likeness of God. This is also taught in Eastern countries as well, where they are Christian, Jews or Muslims. You fucking ignorant twat. This is ignorance. And because Jews get picked on, we're going to get picked on by the Jews. I've had this argument with Muslims as well. As a pagan, I'm consistently having an argument with Christians. So, that's by the by. But Jews and Muslims, you wouldn't have thought I'd have so many arguments with. Oh, fucking right I do. This is disgusting. And people will still try to tell me now that discrimination against pagans does not happen. Alright, mate. Fuck you. So yeah. That's been my little rant. It does. It drives me fucking mad. Especially with what the the Jewish state is trying to do right now. The hypocrisy is unreal. Anyway, this has been Shadow Eater, and this has been some of my shadow wisdom. This has been One Angry Pagan, and this is what I've been fucking angry about. I do hope people actually listen to this, because too many are ignoring this. This is going under the radar, and people like me are suffering because of it. I say suffering, and we're treated as if we don't exist. So yeah, blessings to us everyone, and God will see you.